If you're like me and you go fishing all the time, you probably have some friends and family that you'd like to take with you, but they may not have that much experience on the water. Today we're going to talk about a few things that you can do to ensure that they not only have a good time on the water, but they catch more fish. Let's get into it. Welcome back to another episode of 5 Minute Fish Talk, a show where I've got 5 minutes to discuss all things fishing. Now this show actually appears every single Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern Time Zone, so click that red subscribe button below to stay tuned. All right, let's get into today's subject. I just loaded 5 minutes on this time here. You know what that means. It's time to get real. Guys, we got ourselves another super important subject. Why is it so important? Because I love fishing, and you love fishing, and we all love fishing. When you love fishing so much and you do it so frequently, people around you take notice. All of a sudden they're like, hey, maybe I should go with them. Whether you invite them or they invite themselves, eventually you're going to find yourself fishing with someone that doesn't have a ton of experience on the water. Why is this important? You need to make sure that you get them set up properly to where they have fun on the water, so that way maybe they do it again in the future. If you're like me, you might have taught yourself the majority or quite a bit about what you know about this sport, but there's been some very important people in your life that have helped guide you into fishing along the way. And for me, that's a couple of my uncles as well as a former boss. I don't know who it is for you, but the probability is that you did have someone along the way that really helped you. And so with that, we want to make sure that we're that same person for future generations of fishermen, whether they're kids or people our age, or they might even be older than us. Some people just don't even realize that they love fishing until they do it a couple times, and then they're like, man, I've been missing out. So it's our job to make sure they have a good time on the water. What does that entail? The first thing that is most important is you should always take them to a pretty productive spot. When you go fishing with someone that's new, take them somewhere that's pretty decent. Don't take them to your mud hole that's got like one fish in it, because that's not going to be fun for anybody. The next thing that's most important is you should not focus on yourself catching fish. If you're focused on catching fish yourself, then you're being selfish, and they're not gonna have as much fun because they probably don't know how to catch fish as well as you. And so that's where you need to focus on helping them catch fish. How do you do that? That is the question. This is one of the toughest things in the world. It's really intimidating, quite frankly. Whenever I take somebody new fishing, it's like, man, I put all this pressure on myself to make sure that they have fun, that maybe I overthink it. And so what's most important is, one, getting a rod and reel in their hands that they're comfortable using. I would say get a spinning rod and reel, just like a basic, one of your spinning rod and reels. Get them set up with that, and then teach them the basics about how to fish with it. Open the bail, cast it out, close the bail, so on and so forth. Sometimes that's not that easy. Sometimes people fish with it upside down. I don't ever get that, but some people do that. Regardless, make sure that they're set up with the right gear, and then focus on making sure that you help tie them on the bait for them, you help release fish, so on and so forth. Always focus on helping them. That is the story. What are the baits, though, that are going to help you catch these fish? Because, quite frankly, beginners a lot of times don't know the certain techniques on how to work baits. So if you're giving them like a topwater Zara spook, you shouldn't do that at all, because it's going to be hard for them to get the proper wrist motion to make sure that that thing is working itself properly. So here's a few baits that are going to help you, develop their skills and help them catch fish. And that way maybe they get hooked and they come back and want to try other ones. The first one is, I think we all know that a lot of inexperienced anglers, their gut instinct tells them to just reel it in no matter what. They don't have any way of, working a bait, dragging a bait, so on and so forth. So a little grub like this is probably going to catch more fish than anything. I mean, it's a multi-species bait. It's small enough to where it's going to catch fish of all sizes. A grub is really probably one of my favorite baits to set somebody up with. And quite frankly, I fish with them sometimes too. They're productive lures. The next thing that I would say is a small crankbait. A small crankbait, a lot of times, it has that bassy look to where it's kind of a cool looking fishing lure. The other thing is again, they can just kind of steady reel it in, and they're going to catch fish on it. I wouldn't throw like a big old square bill. I would just throw like a small one, because you're probably going to catch quite a few fish with that. You'll catch numbers more so than the quality. And you'll still attract a quality bass from here on, every now and again. And to me, it's more important to catch a few fish than to catch the biggest fish in the lake the first couple trips out. The next thing that I would say is, for those people that do have a little bit of patience, that's where you can go with something like a Senko. We obviously know how productive these baits can be. Whether you rig it up wacky for them or Texas rig, that's where you basically just hook it up for them, and then you tell them how to work it. And if they have the patience to where they can really, really work it the right way, they're going to catch a lot of fish by doing so, and they might just catch a big one. So Senko is obviously a great lure. We all know how productive it is. The next one, just like that, Ned rig. Guys, I say it about 500 times a day. Ned rig works really well. It's obviously a bait that anybody can use and anybody can catch fish on. And there's really no wrong way of working it. You can kind of twitch it back, you can just let it sink, so on and so forth. You're gonna catch fish on it. The last one I have here, and this is for the people that probably have a little bit more patience, a little bit better action in their wrists, so on and so forth. That would be a topwater popper. The reason I choose this one is because everybody is hooked as soon as they catch their first topwater fish. It is the most exciting thing in the world to see a bass just erupt out of nowhere and blow up on your bait. It is so fun. Holy cow! Guys, I timed that very well. The moral of the story is this. We, as bass fishermen, it is our job to help those around us get hooked on this sport as well. It's such a fun one. We would be selfish not to share it with those we love. Hey, if you guys have a fishing lure that you like to teach others how to fish with, drop the comment below because I would love to know what else I'm missing. These are some of my 5 go-tos. What do you like to use? Otherwise, make sure to share this video with some of your beginner fishing friends. That way we can all continue to spread the love of fishing to everyone around us. Through the online outdoorsman, of course. And last but not least, make sure to have yourself a fantastic weekend, and we'll catch you next time.